Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Miss Anne Marie and I am your host. This is your teacher, Miss Chelsea. Today we're going to continue our learning about hummingbirds.
Thank you, Miss Anne Marie. Today we're going to read an informational text to build our knowledge of hummingbirds. An informational text is nonfiction, and its purpose is to inform the reader about a topic. Before we read to learn about hummingbirds, let's review our vocabulary. Miss Anne Marie, can you read the first word on our chart?
Sure. Our first word is hover. This means to float in the air close to something, just like our helicopter here is hovering above the ground. Boys and girls, do you remember our hand gesture for hover?
That's right. Let's do it together while we say the word aloud. Hover.
Hover.
Great.
Very good. Well, our next word is moss.
Moss is a very small green or yellow plant that grows on moist rocks, tree bark, or wet ground. This is an image of a rock covered in moss. Let's pretend our fist is a rock and point to the moss that might be on it.
I remember that one, Miss Chelsea. I made a self-to-text connection with this visual from a hiking trip that I went on. I got to see moss on some rocks by a stream.
Very cool. All right, boys and girls, our next word is flexible. This means bendable. Do you remember our example with the word, or with this image of a folder?
Yes, we bent the folder back and forth to demonstrate the flexible material that the folder was made of.
Yeah. Let's practice our hand gesture for flexible again. Do you remember how we bent our elbow back and forth to show how our joints are flexible? Do this with us and say flexible aloud.
Flexible.
Good job.
Now I see the word nectar. Nectar is a sugary fluid secreted by plants. And we use the hand gesture to help anchor the meaning in our memory of squeezing the nectar out of the flower.
That's right. Let's do it together while we say the word aloud. Nectar.
Nectar. Do you see the nectar dripping from this flower?
I do see that. How interesting.
Yes. So our next word is habitat.
A habitat is a place where plants or animals live and grow. Let's use our hands to create a home over our heads to represent the word habitat, where plants or animals live. Can you do it with me? Good job.
Next is beak. A beak is a bird's horn-like projecting jaw. And we use our puppet hand motion to represent the beak.
That's right, we did. Can you do this with us and say beak aloud?
Beak.
Our visual shows the bird's beak up close.
Our last word, Miss Chelsea, is migrate.
To migrate means to travel back and forth from one place to another. Let's use our hands to move from one place to another. Can you do this with us? And say migrate.
Migrate.
Great job, boys and girls.
Do you see the Canadian geese migrating?
I do.
Do you think they're flying south for the winter?
Probably. They're looking for warmer weather. So today, our text is titled Hummingbirds. Let's take a look at these three images. What are some things you notice and wonder?
Well, I wonder if all hummingbirds are as brightly colored as this hummingbird with the teal feathers and the blue around its eyes.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I also noticed the nest is as small as the tip of a person's finger.
Wow, that's really small for a
Right?
bird nest. I wondered how the birds drink nectar from their really, really long beaks.
Yeah, I can see in that top visual, it looks like he's drinking, but I'm not sure. Those are some great thoughts, boys and girls. Before we read the text, let's preview it together to locate our new vocabulary words.
Boys and girls, do you see a vocabulary word on this page? That's right, we see the word habitat. Habitat is a place where plants and animals live. Let's keep looking and see if we can find some more words.
Awesome. Let's look at this page. Do you see any words that we just learned on this page? I don't either. Miss Anne Marie, let's keep moving.
Okay. Miss Chelsea, I see 2 vocabulary words on this page. Boys and girls, did you find our 2 vocabulary words on this page?
Miss Anne Marie, I see beak and nectar. We learned that a beak was a bird's horn-like projecting jaw, and nectar is a sugar fluid that is from flowers. Are there any words on the next page?
Oh, let's see. I don't think I see any words on this page, Miss Chelsea. How about let's look at the next page? Oh, boys and girls, what is our vocabulary word on this page? Yes, Miss Chelsea, do you see our vocabulary word too?
I do. I see migrates. I remember that this is traveling from one place to another. Let's see. Oh, on the next page, I see the word migrate again. Boys and girls, do you remember our hand motion for migrate? That's right. Can you do it with me? From one place to another. Great job.
Okay, let's keep looking. On this page, I see the word hover. Boys and girls, do you remember what hover means? That's right. It means to float in the air close to something like our helicopter did.
We've almost found all of our words. Let's see if we can find the last 2. Boys and girls, do you see any of our new words on this page?
I see the word moss, Miss Chelsea. Can you think of a time when you have seen moss? Great, that's some really good examples of times that you have seen moss. We have one more word to find.
Okay. Boys and girls, what vocabulary word do you see on this page? Yeah, I see flexible too. Let's bend our elbow back and forth to show how our joints help us bend. Great job.
So now that we've found all of our new words, let's prepare to read.
Follow along as we read the text together. Birds can be found nearly everywhere on Earth, and they come in many different sizes and colors. They also live in many different types of habitats. This affects how they eat, nest, and sing songs. Hummingbirds are among the smallest birds. The bee hummingbird is the smallest bird on Earth, just 2 inches long. It weighs less than a penny. A hummingbird is an amazing little animal. It can flap its wings up to 90 times in 1 second. That's so fast, it looks like its wings are a blur. It's hard to see its wings because they are constantly flapping. Miss Anne-Marie, can you share with our friends 2 facts about hummingbirds you learned from those pages of our text?
Let me see. Well, hummingbirds are the smallest known birds, and they flap their wings up to 90 times in 1 second.
Oh, wow, that is fast. Those are 2 great facts. Boys and girls, look at this photograph. Miss Anne-Marie, can you read the caption aloud?
Yes, the caption says, "A hummingbird compared to the size of a penny."
Oh, looking at that picture, we can really see how small a hummingbird is. Boys and girls, do you see that? Wow. Let's keep reading and find out more about a hummingbird.
Oh, I can't wait to learn more.
Hummingbirds dart around from flower to flower like bees. They use their long, pointy beaks to drink sweet nectar from flowers. Since they are so busy flapping their wings, they need to eat a lot to replace all of their energy. A typical hummingbird will visit hundreds of flowers every day, drinking more than its own weight in nectar. Nectar has sugar, which gives hummingbirds plenty of energy. As they find insects on flowers, hummingbirds eat them up. Hummingbirds are attracted to red flowers. They are also drawn to red feeders, which people hang on porches and trees. The feeders are filled with sugary water, which is then dyed red to attract the birds. People hang feeders for them because these birds are a lot of fun to watch.
Miss Chelsea, that was a lot of information about hummingbirds.
It really was. So let's talk only about how hummingbirds get their nutrients first. Do you remember what our text said hummingbirds eat?
Yes, I sure do. They drink nectar from plants and they eat small insects.
Very good. Boys and girls, why does a typical hummingbird need to drink more than its own weight in nectar each day? Can you help them, Miss Anne-Marie?
Well, that is an easy one because hummingbirds are so busy flapping their wings that they need to eat a lot to replace all of their energy from flapping their wings.
Oh yes, awesome work. Boys and girls, look at our photograph here. What do you notice about this image? Miss Anne-Marie, can you read our caption?
Sure. The caption says, a hummingbird approaches a flower for nectar. I love how that hummingbird hovers over the plant to drink the nectar.
Yeah, that was a great use of our vocabulary word, hover. Good job, guys. Let's keep reading. Like many birds, the ruby-throated hummingbird migrates. This means it spends part of the year in one place and part of the year in another place. It can be found in parts of the eastern United States during the late spring and early summer. When autumn rolls around, it heads south for warmer weather. Here is an amazing fact. This tiny bird, which is smaller than your finger, doesn't migrate just a few miles. It migrates all the way across the Gulf of Mexico, 500 miles, without stopping. From there, it may continue south through Mexico to Costa Rica and beyond. Here is another interesting fact. They are the only birds that can fly backwards. They can also hover and fly upside down. Miss Anne-Marie, we just learned about how hummingbirds migrate. Migration is the seasonal movement of animals from one region to another. Boys and girls, what is so amazing about the migration of hummingbirds? What do you think, Miss Anne-Marie?
Well, I think it's amazing that they migrate all the way across the Gulf of Mexico without stopping. That's 500 miles across water.
Gosh, they have no place to stop and land for such a long stretch. That is impressive. Boys and girls, what other interesting facts about hummingbirds did you learn from the last few pages?
Well, hummingbirds are also the only birds that can fly backwards.
Wow.
They can hover and they can fly upside down.
That's right. How interesting. Let's look at the next image. This caption reads, the locations where the ruby-throated hummingbird lives in summer and winter.
Wow. That image really helps me see how far they have to migrate when the seasons change. And I can also see the Gulf of Mexico, which is the large body of water that they have to fly over.
That's right, no place to land. Wow, I can't wait to keep learning. Their nests are very small, about half as big as a walnut shell. They make their nests using little bits of moss and leaves. They use spider webs to hold these little bits of nature together. They sometimes eat the spider before using its web as glue. The spider's web is nice and sticky. It is also flexible. A hummingbird will lay 2 tiny eggs. When its tiny eggs hatch and the babies begin to grow, the spider web will allow the nest to expand. This helps the babies stay warm and safe. Shortly, you will see an image of a hummingbird feeding its babies. Maybe it is giving them a nice, juicy bug to eat. Maybe it is sharing a taste of a sweet flower's nectar with the babies. See if you can find a more interesting little bird than that.
So,
why do you think hummingbirds build nests that are flexible?
well, as the tiny hummingbirds' babies hatch and they begin to grow, The nest expands to fit the size of the babies and to keep the babies warm and safe, just like in our picture we see with the mama bird feeding the babies.
That's right. Boys and girls, what does the hummingbird use to make this nest we see on our screen? What causes it to expand? What material?
Miss Chelsea, they use spider webs.
Really?
Yes, and I thought that was so interesting.
Oh yeah, me too. Who knew?
So, Miss Chelsea, do you think that we need to go over our vocab words one more time?
Maybe, because we will have to answer some comprehension questions later, and we may need these words in our minds.
Okay, so let's start with hover. And remember the helicopter that would hover over the ground?
Yes, it floats in the air close to something. Our next word was moss, and this is a small green or yellow plant, and it grows on moist rocks and wet ground. I've seen it hiking.
And flexible is something bendable. Do you remember the hummingbird's nests?
Oh yeah.
They were flexible.
The spider webs made it flexible and helped it expand.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so nectar is the sugary fluid secreted by the plants. We see it in our picture right here dripping, and that's what the hummingbirds, they drink that with their long beaks to keep their energy up.
I remember the picture where the hummingbird was drinking nectar from a red flower.
Do y'all remember that?
I think hummingbirds liked the color red.
Oh yeah,
right?
They did. They were drawn to it.
Yeah. Okay, our next word is habitat. Habitat. And that is a place where plants or animals live and grow. And we have a lot of different habitats in our visual. We have a desert, mountains. We have the rainforest. I bet they find moss in the rainforest.
I bet so too, because it's nice and moist.
And even under the ocean.
Yes. Next we had beak, and that was the bird's horn-like projecting jaw. Here's a visual, and we saw several in our text. The birds use those to drink. The hummingbirds, they use that to drink the nectar.
Do you think it's kind of like a straw for them?
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So our last word is migrate, and it means to travel back and forth from one place to another. So I wonder, here's our picture of birds, and they are migrating. So I wonder if their habitat, if they migrate from one habitat to a next, if it's similar.
Yeah, maybe so, because they move based on the seasons and the weather. We learned that from our reading. Interesting.
Very good. Miss Chelsea, we learned so many neat things about hummingbirds.
We did.
So thank you, boys and girls, for your participation and your hard work. And remember those vocab words and those hand motions, because next time we're going to dive even deeper into our text, and you're going to get to practice writing with us.
Oh, I can't wait. All rights and credits for this lesson belong to Core Knowledge Language Arts. We would like to thank them publicly for sharing these materials. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.